I'm sure you heard about this. So, Virginia Giuffre beaten, raped by well-known prime minister in attack that broke Epstein's spell, her memoir reveals. So this is new. This is from New York Post, October 18th. So, by the way, the well-known prime minister was not Margaret Thatcher, just so you know. Not Margaret Thatcher. Prominent Jeffrey Epstein victim Virginia Roberts Giuffre was brutally bloodied, beaten, and raped by a well-known prime minister in a series of savage encounters that finally helped the teenager break free from the sex trafficker's spell. In her posthumous memoir, Nobody's Girl, a memoir of surviving abuse and fighting for justice, Giuffre recalled begging Epstein to step in after the unnamed politician forced her to beg for her life. But the pedo coldly told her it was simply part of her job. After the attack, I couldn't stay a fool, having been treated so brutally, and then seeing Epstein's callous reaction to how terrorized I felt. I had to accept that Epstein meted out praise merely as manipulation to keep me subservient. Epstein cared only about Epstein. Giuffre simply referred to the deranged man as the prime minister, saying she was afraid the brute would seek to hurt her if she printed his name. Now, in the past, she pointed to Israel's prime minister Ehud Barak in court filings as one of the many elites who had raped her, a claim he has repeated. So that's who she's talking about. Ehud Barak, Prime Minister of Israel. In her memoir, she first met the Prime Minister on Epstein's private island in 2002 when she was just 18. She was ordered to escort him to a cabana, but the man made it clear as soon as they were alone that he wanted violence. He repeatedly choked me until I lost consciousness and took pleasure in seeing me in fear for my life. Horrifically, the prime minister laughed when he hurt me and got more aroused when I begged him to stop. I emerged from the cabana bleeding from my mouth, vagina, and anus. For days it hurt to breathe and to swallow. The politician raped me more savagely than anyone had before. She immediately rushed to Epstein and begged him not to send her back to the prime minister. I got down on my knees and pleaded with him. I don't know if Epstein feared the man or if he owed him a favor, but he wouldn't make any promises, saying coldly of the politician's brutality, "You'll get that sometimes." Sometime later, Epstein sent her back to the politician for a second encounter, conducted entirely in a cabin aboard the Lolita Express. Although the experience was far less violent, Giuffre spent the entire hour in fear he would suddenly strike and choke her. And so there he is. That's your good guy. She admitted that before the violent experience, she had given Epstein the benefit of the doubt and believed he cared for girls he trafficked. She was not completely naive, she wrote, acknowledging that his predilection for childlike girls was a sickness, but that in his twisted way he meant well. His indifference to her fear and injuries from the prime minister forced the 18-year-old to face the truth. Chillingly, Giuffre then predicted her own death in a passage, saying she would not survive a life as a sex trafficking and would either take her own life or die at the hands of one of Epstein's friends. I didn't know it then, but my second interaction with the prime minister was the beginning of the end for me, she said, adding that she stopped recruiting other young girls for Epstein as he had forced her to do in the past. The final breaking point came that summer when Epstein and his madam, Ghislaine Maxwell, pleaded with Giuffre to carry their child, a proposal that came with mansions, wealth, and around-the-clock nannies, but would require her to sign away any legal rights. The teen immediately worried that they were planning to use the baby as a future trafficking victim and began planning her escape. She left the couple's grasp not long after, but experiences haunted her for the rest of her life, particularly the greedy, cruel look on the prime minister's face as he watched me beg for my life. Barak has repeatedly denied Giuffre's abuse claims of knowledge that Epstein was running a perverted ring. Barak was a personal friend of Epstein's and used several $1 million of Epstein's money to finance a security company. Records show he had visited Epstein on his private island and had boarded his private plane. The chilling tale was included in Giuffre's memoir, set to be released next week, which she penned in the years before her suicide when in April. She was 41. Let me show you this. Okay, so we don't have that hang on. So what do you make of that, Jackson? Go to Jackson.
Well, it sounds like a Democrat hoax, as Trump said. I mean, I think it's quite clear, right? This is, Giuffre, she was the most public of all the Epstein victims, and they constantly denied what she had to say, but it was extremely well documented. And I find it very interesting the way that she actually, passed away. They said that she committed suicide, but 4 days before that took place, she was hit by a bus going like 60 miles an hour. When she was in her car on a corner, she was hit by a bus. It could happen, but a little bit weird considering who she is and the life she lived and the truth that she was exposing. And then 4 days after this happened, she commits suicide. I don't know. It seems very odd to me. And I think there are obviously a lot of sound questions about this, but I think a large part of this is that it is so damning to the U.S.-Israeli relationship. It's so damning to the U.K. Royal family. It's so damning to so many politicians all across the world and business leaders. And it has boiled to a point where no one can deny what's happening. And that's why Trump is waging all these wars right now, because everyone is asking the question, why are the files not released? And he can't answer.
That would be sad to think but this is a very wag the dog moment. I don't know if you ever saw that movie, but this is him starting wars, and partly at least to stop the questions about him covering up the Epstein scandal. And they're all covering up. Aren't you surprised to see Dan Bongino do this? I am personally. I didn't think he would do it. I thought he would resign before he did this, but he's not. Aren't you shocked at Kash Patel and Dan Bongino completely doing a 180 on Epstein? And Trump also. What do you make of it?
I'm not surprised at all. Dan Bongino blocked me on Twitter, I think sometime in 2024, mid-2024, because of my critique of Israel. Before he was sworn in as a deputy director of the FBI, he said that his greatest mission in life is to support the state of Israel. He said that in an interview, unironically. And they don't select anyone for these positions, FBI director, deputy director of the FBI, unless they're fully compromised. You don't get a position like that unless you're fully compromised. And Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, no matter what they said before, they weren't serious about it. And even if they were serious about it, they found a way to compromise these people. So I'm not surprised. And I think Dan Bongino actually fits the mold. I mean, he's a staunch Zionist, and it's no surprise that he's defending this network.
So here is Louis Black, famous comedian Louis Black, on a podcast, I think Sam Morrell, and he's going to tell you that Ehud Barak, well, let's listen. He's going to reveal the scandal behind Ehud Barak, Israel, and Epstein.
When we got here, it's weird from the beginning, because it's like you go in and he's got a whiteboard and there's all of this stuff drawn on it. And he goes, you want me to tell you what that is? And I go, yeah, well, sure. Bobby and I, he goes, I had the Israeli defense minister here last night for dinner. And then he's got me and Bobby Slayton. I mean, what kind of a fucking, are you shitting me? And then he said, and so we were talking about, he was showing me what kind of defense systems Israel would use in case of attack.
Wow.
And I thought, you know what? First up, what is the Israeli defense minister? What the fuck is the matter? Why would you tell me this is already, now it's weird. When we got here.
Weird. Again, that word weird, just like J.D. Vance. That's weird. Anyway, so there it is, confirmation that Epstein was working with Israel intelligence. He had the defense secretary, plus his next-door neighbor was Ehud Barak. And Jeffrey Epstein had the largest single-family dwelling in all of Manhattan, one of the richest cities in the world. Jeffrey Epstein had the largest single-family dwelling in Manhattan and lived right next door to Ehud Barak. Isn't that wild? So,
it's all a Democrat hoax.
But I'm on Michael Tracy's side on this. I think
What does Michael Tracy say?
Michael Tracy says the Giuffre is a fabulist and tells all lies, and Epstein, everything that Trump is saying about Epstein is true. That there is no, it's all
Michael
it's all
Tracy. Up. Michael Tracy never fails to have a stupid opinion about stuff. I remember when he said that the Russia-Ukraine, both sides are bad. The NATO Nazis are bad, but also Russia's bad for defending the civilians in Donbass.
Yeah.
This is not surprising.
He does have some bad takes. Wonder if he's taken that $7,000 per post, because that's the only thing that really could explain it. That he's taking cash.
I don't think so.
You don't think he's taking it?
I think he's just that stupid, and he's like
very
arrogant.
Money? Where does he get the money for those clothes?
He looks homeless. What do you mean?
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's a joke. Come on, you can't just you don't just roll out of bed and look that bad without a lot of work. Anyway, come see us in Australia. Second show's added in Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane. We'll see you in Burbank, California, the day after Thanksgiving. It's a Friday. And then Pottstown, Pennsylvania, December 6th. Plus, January 11th, we're going to be in Waikiki at the Blue Note. Tickets not available yet for them, but go to jimmydore.com for a link for all the other tickets.